Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street, a quick fire XRP update. Some great news, of course, in the last few weeks and months around the launch of the RLUSD, so Ripple's stablecoin, which is actually officially launched today. We'll go into a bit more detail about that shortly. Before we do, don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you have not done so already. Welcome to the channel if you're new. Let's go straight into this topic, guys. So as many of you know, the RLUSD launching today, or has launched actually, according to some of the media outlets that I've been looking into in the last sort of couple of hours, have mentioned a few of the exchanges that have already taken it on board. So Uphold, Bitso, MoonPay, Archax, and CoinMena. I'm sure there'll be many more to follow. Of course, looking interested towards the likes of Binance and all the other big exchanges eventually. Interesting to see how the regulation aspect kicks in to allow this to go on other exchanges. I think a lot of people are sort of up in arms as to, well, why is it not available here and there and everywhere? But the general consideration, in my opinion, is an exciting move in the market. It's giving more competition out there towards other, really good stable coins out there already. What's going to be interesting from my side of things is how this coordinates with potential like exchange fees and things like that, and holding your assets in a stablecoin fashion. For me personally, when I am, of course, selling my crypto assets on the exchange, I am ultimately putting them, or I'm using Polygon at the moment for USDC, and then I'm literally pulling those into my ledger. It's going to be really interesting to see. I'll try and do a video on it perhaps of how we can utilize RLUSD instead moving forward. And interesting also what the fees imply, particularly if the fact that it mentions here, I think, or I have seen that I believe it's MoonPay added here. MoonPay tend to charge well, I wouldn't say massive fees, but there's quite substantial fees compared to me sending it back to exchanges, doing the trade, and then sending it back again. I'd rather just be able to do it on the ledger, to be honest, and I think we'll get to that point. And maybe even in the coming months or the coming years, it'll improve a lot more. But yes, it's really exciting. Just from that cross-border perspective, I think this is where perhaps we kind of have that integration of, or the influence rather, of XRP as a token or as a crypto asset. People are always wondering, well, how is this actually going to increase the XRP price? Like, if stablecoins are fairly separate to the XRP token. However, of course, the XRP token itself or asset is essentially used as the transaction fees or the gas fees for the processing ability of anything that's related to XRP, basically, and including, as far as I'm aware, the transactions relating to RLUSD. So what's interesting, if you look at that market overall of things, let's just maybe focus on cross-border payments as an example. I mean, globally, guys, this is a $5 trillion per day amount of transactions occur. That is phenomenal. Now, we've done videos in the past about RTGS systems. This is the remittance system that pretty much operates the world's finances at the moment. I mean, around about £780 billion a day is transacted just in the UK, I believe. You can transpire that across the factor of this 5 trillion number that I've just mentioned in dollars, not pounds, but the principle is still the same, that from a global functionality, when we've done videos around BIS with all the different projects like Project Jura, Icebreaker, Helvetia, all of these ones that we talked about, this is what we've been leading up to, guys, is 2025. Now we're in this even stronger position because a company like Ripple in this space, who have defined the security aspects of its projects with the SEC, Trump administration coming, and the timing is pure amazing in my opinion. According to the BIS, I mean, that $5 trillion amount that I mentioned, they perceive the exchange rates or the exchange markets to actually exceed 6 trillion in daily volume. So I'm not suggesting Ripple will take control of every single transaction of this, but that is the market share availability, guys. And albeit it's probably not going to cost like one XRP, like a whole XRP, of course, to have that transaction processed as a gas fee. It will be fractionalized, of course, and there is a limited supply of XRP. So it's really going to be interesting about that calculation, that mathematics behind it, of what actual fractionalization of an XRP will be used for every single one of these transactions, and the valuation of $6 trillion worth of a day. This isn't even over a year or 10 years. This is per day. So we do need more stable coins. There's not going to be one winner, but certainly Ripple has that massive opportunity to be ahead of its competitors when it comes to the functionality of it, the cost reductions purposes. And when you're a bank or you're dealing with cross-border payments or around the world payments on a daily basis, whether you're a company or an individual, these savings are going to be phenomenal. It will increase the economy substantially because things can be paid quicker. The processing, don't know the exact fact, but when I was doing those videos a year or so ago around Visa and things, like, if I was to pay you money, like bank to bank, you would see it in your account relatively pretty much straight away. However, the actual process behind it can take up to 7 days. So when you're a business and you're operating around the kind of aspect of crediting and debiting, that can take like sometimes a month, maybe even up to 3 months. And when you scale that up to things like transactions relating to perhaps house properties or just any formatting of physical asset, which, by the way, is why we have the videos around NFT application or crypto application with NFTs on physical products into digital, or the smart contract digitalization aspect of it. It starts to really deliver the story. So when we were talking about all this stuff like a few years ago, people were scratching their heads, well, how's this work? Or like, why would we actually need this? Or is it even actually going to take off? We fast forward now, literally on the brink of 2025. I'm still adamant around this November 2025 date, where we see the significant turn on of the new RTGS systems around the world, or pretty much simultaneously. But now in the back end, we've got even more ability with stablecoin application to be able to stabilize markets, to be able to hold values in a more opportunist way with less fees. So that does flow or snowball into the point of XRP in general, as its use case, because these transactions will need at this moment in time XRP to help with that processing aspect, which is ultimately what crypto was, not necessarily crypto, but blockchain as a whole, as a technology, was there to do, to process, to validate, and to secure the data and not have it manipulated, reduce volatility, have a better algorithm. It could potentially, along with AI, reduce, if not remove, inflation and interest rates. We could eradicate the whole thing ultimately if it was done correctly. But this is the exciting thing. It's come out the other end of the court cases. The team have done an incredible job, and now we're in the instance where the digital currencies will be launching next year, pretty much for all countries around the world. I don't care what anyone says. I think cash will be gone in the next 10-15 years, maybe less. When I went to one of the recent Digital Pound Foundation events, the representatives from Ripple were there. There's a couple of people from MasterCard, etc. And they were talking about one of the demands around 2015, certainly when the Agenda 30 program was created by the United Nations for the 2030 goals. One of the key principles was to reduce physical cash and increase contactless payments, tap and go, whatever. And now, of course, they're on our smartphones and watches, etc. It's even easier. They had a goal, I can't remember the exact numbers, like between 300 and 600% increase in that aspect of utilization. Because of the pandemic, or plandemic in my mind, it increased within 6 months 13,500%. So when you modularize that in your minds, of how quick and easy it is now to make payments, not have to worry about cash, not having to worry about the cost behind using cash, the energy functionality, the trackability, the traceability. In the UK, they asked everyone to bring in their old cash notes from like 20, 30 years ago because you can't use them anymore. You have to replace it with the new plastic cash, which is basically traceable. I don't know what exact material it's used for, but what the point being is that once you put it back into the bank and you get given new money, whether it's cash variant or digitalized, the fact of the matter is they now know, and it's now back in the system, and they now know who they gave it to. This is the whole point. So eventually this cash will diminish more and more. It was interesting to see maybe a month or so ago when the crash happened relating to the cloud systems at Microsoft, etc. And people were like, oh, cash is king, cash is king. Well, good luck spending your cash, because 90% of stores and stadiums and everything here in the UK don't accept cash anymore. So look at the pathway that has been created for us. You can't stop what's going to happen. Okay, I gave up years ago preaching about the 2030 modules and this, that, and the other. So as Raoul Paul mentioned in a really interesting interview quite recently that I watched, he was like, you can't beat it, so invest in it. And that's exactly the principle. You can't essentially invest in RLUSD, but you can certainly have your holdings in it as a valued stablecoin. It's backed with reserves, etc. Things like the treasury, the treasury bills. So it's full on legitimate. In respect to the SEC thing, I always felt that was a circus and trying to suppress everything so they could get their chess pieces in play. But you look at that principle of everything that's going on. It really starts coordinating your mind. What's coming? And we can invest in XRP at the moment still. You may have holdings of XRP. What happens to the XRP token in the years to come? I don't know. They could tank it. They could just get rid of it. I don't know where we are with all of this at this moment in time. But at the moment, those that hold it, we're in a strong position here. And finally, we're seeing some really exciting developments with Ripple as a company and ultimately XRP moving forward as well. So confirmations today of that stablecoin going live. I mean, look at this in general. Monica Long, great post here, marks a new chapter. The XRP ledger as well as Ripple for the use in the 70 billion plus payments flows, combining 10 years of business, the rigor and compliance required with stablecoin issuance by the New York DFS chartered company and experienced advisory board. Now, this was, of course, off the back of New York's aspect as a state or part of America. When this rolls out properly globally, wow, this is going to be phenomenally exciting. And I think also it opens doors to competitors who either have already got stablecoins or are in the notion of trying to create one. This is the benchmark now. If you're going to be if you're going to be too costly or too slow, you're not going to cut it. So I think this next 5 years of evolution in the market and generally in the industry of blockchain and crypto is going to be absolutely extraordinary, exciting. It could be scary at times for sure, but the notion around this is phenomenal and leading very nicely, as we said, to November 2025 with the ultimate goals of 2030. Whether you want to call it dystopian or whatever, the warnings have been there for years. And I've always said, if you invest in crypto or AI, you're probably investing in the demise of society. But the only aspect of it is, if you can't beat them, not necessarily join them. I don't want to join them, but I'll invest in it and make some money and see where it goes. It's a really interesting topic, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below about this whole aspect of the stablecoin launch, the space in itself. What stablecoins do you use at the moment? Are you that excited about what's been going on with the developments? I am, as an XRP holder, and I think in general, my hobbyist approach of the crypto and blockchain space, as you know, I've got diplomas in blockchain cryptography. I've been involved in the space for a number of years now. I've been absolutely delighted to have met most of these companies and their representatives on numerous occasions at numerous events, and have great conversations, great MAs. So it's exciting for me in that aspect as well. But yeah, I'm thinking that this is going to have some really good, excuse the pun, ripple effects in the years to come. Absolutely phenomenal. The stablecoin sector alone, $2 trillion valuation by 2028. This is the beginning, guys, just the beginning. And the market's potential also has attracted major fintech players like PayPal and Robinhood. This is absolutely critical. The adaptations, the awareness, the availability of crypto is better than it ever has been before. And now we've got fiat on-ramping as well. A lot of companies out there just allow people just literally pay for crypto using their Visa cards, their normal Visa cards on their smartphones, Apple Pay, things like this. even on Coinbase, it opens up the market. So if you've been holding crypto for a few years, or whether you're new, it's still early. Not as early, of course, as 5, 10, 15 years ago, but it's still on the early brinkness of adoption. So really exciting things to come, guys, I think, in my opinion. Let's have a quick look at the XRP chart. I think that's always a good one the last few weeks to look at. Let's round this up quite quickly for everyone. So you can see here, current valuation around about, as a recording, $2.65. If you remember, a few days back on the 2nd of December, we hit the notion of around I think it was 187 or 188. I think it finalized as. Really good progression over such a short period of time. Literally within a month, a 479% increase on the valuation. It has obviously retracted. There's been a couple of corrections, some really nice ones. Took advantage of this drop down towards $2. Bought back in with some of the USDC, that I had from the XRP sale. I had selling points across the board, really. 174. I think there was a couple of others throughout the $2 period. I think I managed to grab one around 282. But to see that retraction and bang back up again is fantastic. You can see on the performance indicators on the right hand side here, really strong year so far in general. The last week has been a bit more stabilized. I think this is important and critical. We mentioned this in the previous XRP video. We need to see some stabilization before we can see another leg up. I think the stablecoin announcement is quite interesting. Usually you get a sell-off after the rumors occurred and the actual event occurs. But I think XRP is one of those where people see the valuation of the future. I'm not here just for short term of XRP. I'm here for the future because I believe strongly that over the next 10, 20 years, this is going to be a critical asset to be holding, whether it's used as your pension alternative, your savings alternative. Sure, you can trade it, but for me, the long principle of it is I will always, no matter what, hold 1,000 XRP in my account, and I can gladly sell off the rest of it as we go up, hopefully, to the next stages. But on that point, the next critical points for me personally from a sell-off perspective will probably be around that sort of 3 to 4 mark, kind of labeled really with these fib levels here. So the next jump up would be around to sort of 329, 330. Of course, way beyond the markers that we saw in 2021. The previous all-time high, just to remind myself of XRP, according to CoinMarketCap, was January 2018 at $3.84. So we've still got a bit of a stretch to go for that. But I think in the general principle, the excitement of it, there's no reason why we couldn't hit that at some point. So let's see if that comes into fruition in 2025, and we're expecting it this side of the end of the year, perhaps maybe into next year. It may not do that at all. Maybe there's just so much stability in the market, so much awareness of XRP already that we're already here. It remains to be seen for sure, but I think there's still always opportunity in the trading aspect. The RSIs in the bottom left here, despite the last couple of days, is still showing that there's good room or opportunity for room of improvement in the price. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us maybe try and test that 294 area again before potentially stabilizing and pushing up to those next levels. I mean, wouldn't that be exciting to see us get towards those previous all-time highs? My prediction, I know I don't really like doing predictions, but people keep asking, so I'm just going to say it. I would anticipate in 2025 XRP getting towards that $5 mark. If you think about the principles of what XRP is, especially with the stablecoin launch and everything else that Ripple's working on, I think it's possible, and specifically as well with the aspects we mentioned earlier, the adoption, the awareness, the availability opportunities that are for pretty much anyone in the world now. If you've got an internet connection, you can pretty much get access to this, subject to KYC, of course. But they're my thoughts. So that's where I'm sort of sitting at the moment. The stabilization is exactly what we thought it would do. I mentioned in the previous video. Now let's see if we can leg this up, because I think this would be a phenomenal opportunity for it to do so. Get some extra FOMO in there. But the announcements come out today. We haven't seen a giant trigger as I thought we may have done. But I haven't seen it come down where I thought it might come to either, on that buy the rumor, sell the news mentality. So the market is definitely different to previous cycles, that's for sure. Guys, thanks for watching this XRP video. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.